The poison of bitterness, how to be healed and whole. It's astonishing how there are numerous actions we engage in that ultimately have the power to destroy us. Sometimes we're not even aware of these destructive behaviors, and at times, we're fully aware but find ourselves unable to stop them. In our pursuit of happiness, we often hope that these actions won't lead to our downfall. But the truth is, there are indeed things we do that can destroy us, all of us. Today, I'm going to focus on a major one, the heavy hitter, if you will, that we do that have the potential to ruin our lives. Now, let's talk about this destructive element, bitterness. Bitterness, my friends, can be a silent killer. Many of us live our lives harboring bitterness, perhaps without even realizing it. Hit notification, subscribe, like and share for the Word of God to grow and prevail. Acts 19 verse 20. As an illustration, let me share a story from Charles Dickens' novel, Great Expectations. There's a character named Miss Havisham who exemplifies the destructive nature of bitterness. She experienced a traumatic event when she was left at the marriage altar by her groom due to her wealth. Notice here, that wealth couldn't make her happy, therefore, wealth is not everything in life. Unable to move on, Miss Havisham froze her life in time, stopping all the clocks in her home at 10 minutes to 9, the moment she received the heartbreaking news. She kept wearing her wedding attire as a symbol of her pain. Instead of heeding advice to heal, she raised a young girl named Estella, poisoning her heart with bitterness against men. Estella grew up to be a heartbreaker, breaking the hearts of many, including Pip, the story's narrator. Miss Havisham's actions stemmed from her own pain and desire to make others suffer as she had. She eventually regretted her bitterness, but it was too late. Her story serves as a warning about the destructive force of holding on to past grievances and allowing bitterness to control one's life. When a person holds on to a painful experience for too long, they can pass on the effects of that bitterness to others. Bitterness doesn't just harm the one who carries it, it spreads like a virus, poisoning others. Hebrews 12 verses 14 to 15 warns us about bitterness. It says, "Pursue peace with all people, and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord, looking carefully lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled." It's talking of bitterness as something sharp and pointed, and rightly so. Bitterness pierces not only the one who carries it but also those they come into contact with. It defiles and hinders the grace of God in our lives. Let's remember that bitterness is a danger mothers can easily fall into, especially when they feel their sacrifices and investments aren't being appreciated or reciprocated. Bitterness is a poison that we must avoid at all costs. In the Bible, there are 2 case studies that highlight the destructive nature of bitterness within families, and both are from 2 Samuel 13. The first case involves Amnon and Tamar, and the second case involves Absalom. These stories reveal how bitterness can destroy us and tear families apart, and we'll explore them in depth in the following discussions. So, stay with me as we delve into these stories and learn how to deal with bitterness in our lives and the lives of those around us. Bitterness is a destructive force, but with awareness and guidance, we can overcome it and foster healthier relationships. Now, let's connect the dots here. In the first case, Absalom had a beautiful sister Tamar. Their half-brother called Amnon pretended to be sick and invited Tamar to come and minister food to him. When she got there, Amnon forced her intimately. Absalom didn't forgive him for this act, and after 2 good years, he organized a party where he eliminated Amnon. However, in 2 Samuel 18 verse 9, in a battle Absalom's head was caught in a terebinth tree where he died. In the second case, Ahithophel, who was initially David's trusted advisor and a worshiper of God, had a granddaughter named Bathsheba. David, the king, had an affair with Bathsheba, who was married to Uriah, a loyal soldier in David's army. As a result, Bathsheba became pregnant with David's child. Here's where bitterness enters the picture. Ahithophel, Bathsheba's grandfather, witnessed this scandalous affair and the injustice done to his granddaughter. He saw David's sinful actions and probably felt powerless to intervene or seek justice for his family. This deep-seated anger and bitterness grew within him over the years. Despite his personal grievances, Ahithophel continued to serve as David's advisor, concealing his bitterness. However, when Absalom, David's son, rebelled against his father and sought advice on how to consolidate power, Ahithophel seized the opportunity for revenge. Ahithophel advised Absalom to publicly sleep with David's concubines, knowing that this act would be a profound insult to David and would further humiliate him. This cruel counsel was a way for Ahithophel to exact revenge for the wrongs he believed David had committed against his family, particularly his granddaughter Bathsheba. The bitterness and anger that Ahithophel had harbored for years had festered and consumed him to the point where he was willing to provide wicked advice that would lead to further turmoil and division in the kingdom. Do not say it cannot happen to a Christian. I draw your attention to what was said earlier, that Ahithophel was a worshiper of God, yet he couldn't control bitterness. Bitterness can lead to destructive actions and can poison relationships and communities. It is a powerful reminder of the importance of forgiveness, healing, and addressing conflicts in healthy ways to prevent the spread of bitterness and its devastating consequences. Here are some steps you can take to deal with it. Acknowledge your bitterness. The first step in overcoming bitterness is recognizing that you harbor these feelings. Many people deny or suppress their bitterness, but acknowledging it is essential to address the issue. Identify the root cause. Take time to reflect on why you feel bitter. What specific event or actions triggered these emotions? Understanding the root cause can help you address it more effectively. Practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for releasing bitterness. It doesn't mean condoning the wrongdoer's actions, but choosing to let go of the resentment and anger. Forgiveness is for your benefit, not the other person's. Remember how Jesus forgave his crucifiers in Luke 23 verse 34, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." You do likewise. Talk to someone. Sometimes, discussing your feelings with a trusted friend, family member, or therapist can provide a fresh perspective and emotional support. They may offer guidance or help you process your emotions. Pray and seek spiritual guidance. If you have a spiritual or religious practice, prayer and seeking guidance from your faith community can be helpful in finding inner peace and healing. Practice self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself and recognize that it's normal to have negative emotions at times. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Release negative thoughts. Challenge and replace negative, bitter thoughts with positive ones. Cultivate gratitude for the good things in your life and focus on what you can control. Set boundaries. If the bitterness is related to ongoing toxic relationships or situations, consider setting boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Sometimes, distance is necessary for healing. Engage in self-care. Prioritize self-care practices like exercise, meditation, relaxation techniques, and hobbies that bring you joy. Taking care of your physical and mental health can help alleviate bitterness. Seek professional help. If your bitterness is overwhelming and persistent, consider seeking the assistance of a mental health professional or counselor. They can provide tools and strategies to manage your emotions effectively. Remember that overcoming bitterness is a process that may take time and effort. However, letting go of bitterness can lead to greater emotional freedom, inner peace, and improved relationships with others. God bless you.